Hi, this is Dr. Shirley Caruso. Thank you for joining me. In this tutorial, you will learn how to create a graphical user interface, abbreviated GUI for short, and often pronounced GUI, and how to create hyperlinks. This tutorial will be demonstrated using a PC with a Windows operating system for PowerPoint 2016. Let's head on over to PowerPoint to get started. I've opened up a new PowerPoint presentation and I'm going to give it a name and save it right away, as I will be saving throughout the presentation to make sure that all my changes have been saved. So for now, I'm just going to keep this on the desktop, and I have decided that my topic is going to be the 50 U.S. states and capitals. And I'm going to start on the front page by populating what I would like to be at the graphical user interface. And if I had to describe this, I would say that it is like a table of contents in a book. It's a place where users can go to so that they can navigate to various sections of the PowerPoint tutorial without having to scroll through all of the slides. So let's go ahead and get started. The title that I'm going to give this is the 50 U.S. states and their capitals. And I am just going to justify everything. I'm going to bold this, kind of divide it out a little so that the screen is even. Here again, I'm going to justify, and I'm going to give credit to the creation of this tutorial. And one of Meyer's principles of multimedia learning is that you should also always include a picture of the person who is presenting, especially if that presenter is going to use voice anywhere throughout the presentation. So I do intend to do some voice recording eventually, so I'm going to include my picture. So I found a place on my computer where a picture is located, and I'm going to insert that. I kind of just move it around and place it on the screen where I think it would be appropriate. And now I have to decide what types of content, what content am I going to include in this tutorial. So that would probably happen in a previous step where you are designing, and this would be where you're actually developing the content. So in my case, I have decided to include several things, and so now I'm going to create tabs for those things that will represent the various sections of my tutorial. So I'm going to go up to Insert, and the thing I'm going to insert is a shape. And I'm going to look for a shape that kind of resembles a tab on a binder. And I find one here under Basic Shapes. This is a trapezoid. And I'm going to start drawing trapezoids across the top. Now, your graphical user interface can be designed in any way. This is just a simple demonstration of one way to design a graphical user interface. I'm also going to decide that I kind of like this color scheme. Maybe a little bit lighter than that. And I'm also going to go to Shape Effects and give this a little bevel effect so it kind of actually resembles a real tab that can be clicked. And I'm going to need 4 more of these because I'm going to include 4 more things. So I'm going to do a right mouse click. I'm going to copy. And then I'm going to do from my keyboard a Control V 3 more times. And what I'm going to do is just kind of stagger these out. And to get these grid lines to show, that will help you place things evenly on your PowerPoint, you can go up to the View tab and check the box that says Grid Lines. If you would like no grid lines, you can go ahead and uncheck. The grid lines will not show when the presentation is in play mode, but it will show when you are designing to help you place things evenly. So I'm going to keep it there for now, and I'm going to put these tabs along the top. You might want to overlap them. You might want to resize them a little bit so that they all fit. Okay, and what I've decided to include in this section is information about this course to let the learners know what they will learn. I'm also going to include a navigation section to help them, to teach them how they would navigate this site. A section on frequently asked questions, and I'm going to give them some contact information in case they do have questions or comments about this tutorial. For the actual learning content, I have decided on several things, and I'm also going to include a quiz. So along the left side here, I'm going to also insert some tabs. This time I'm going to use this shape. It's called rounded rectangle, but you can choose any shape that you would like. I'm going to give it a shape effect. And I need 3 more of these, so I'm going to do a Control-C and then a Control-V 3 times. And I'm going to use those grid lines to help me space them out evenly. And I'm going to give them each names. I'm going to reduce the size of this so that it fits all in one. There we go. Okay, and I've decided that I want all of these to be left justified. So that's what I'm doing here. So now what we have are tabs, and these tabs are going to automatically take learners to those different sections of our tutorial. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a placeholder page that represents each of these titles. So I'm going to start with the first one, and this one I'm going to call About This Course. Bold the title. I also need one that says Navigation. I need one that says Frequently Asked Questions. I need one that says the 50 states and their capitals. And I'm actually going to duplicate this slide because it's a good thing when you start getting into the content, if you have a slide that is going to introduce that section of the tutorial and then kind of go into the content. So you need an introductory slide and an actual content slide. That is good practice. So I'm going to copy this and paste it. So I actually have two slides with the same title. And I need another slide. And this slide, I'm going to change its layout so it has the title here. This one is going to be called U.S. State Capital List. And again, I'm going to duplicate that. So that I have one that's an introductory and one that's the actual content. I need one that says the 50 states and their capitals. And this time it is a song. The type of content here is a song, so it distinguishes it from a previous slide with the same name. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that slide. And finally, I need a slide, the quiz. And again, I'm going to duplicate this slide. So at this point, I have 12 slides in my tutorial. And I have less tabs than 12, but that's because I've included an introductory slide for the content. So the next order of business would be to create some hyperlinks. But before I do that, I'm going to make this front page, this title slide, a little more decorative. So because my tutorial is about the 50 states and their capitals, I'm going to search for a picture, a map of the U.S. And I like this one because it shows the names of the capital cities. So I'm going to insert that one. And I am going to give it a right click, format the picture, go to picture color. And I'm going to use what is called a washout. And then I'm going to give this a right click. And I'm going to send this back. So it goes back behind my text. So you can still read the text, but you can have something kind of visually representing what this tutorial is about. I'm going to press Shift on my keyboard and kind of resize this map so it stretches from end to end, from top to bottom. It makes it more appealing. And I always need to tell my learners what to do on each slide and what they should do next. So they should always be led through the tutorial. So I would like them to first click on about this course so that they will first be taken to that slide so they can see what they are going to learn. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to look for an online picture. I'm going to look for a computer mouse. And notice that I'm searching in the Creative Commons only. This means that I am able to reuse any of these pictures freely. So they are free for me to use. And I like this one, so I'm going to insert that one. And I'm going to make it quite small. Put it up here for now. And I'm going to insert a text box with some direction on what the learner should do. So what I would like the learner to do is click about this course to begin this tutorial. So I'm going to make this text bold, and then I'm actually going to draw an arrow to this tab so they can see exactly where they are supposed to begin. So I'm going to go to Insert, Shapes. I'm going to choose an arrow, and I'm going to draw an arrow from my direction to the tab. I can give the arrow certain dimensions, certain colors. I need it to be a little heavier, so I'm going to go to this heavier weight here. That looks about right. So when the learner lands on this first slide, when they first open this tutorial, they are going to be directed where to begin this tutorial. So my next order of business would be to actually create the hyperlinks that takes them to these various places in the tutorial. So I'm going to click on the first one about this course, and I'm going to be careful that I have clicked to highlight the entire shape rather than clicking inside the box to highlight the text. By clicking the entire shape and leaving your mouse out of the box, anywhere that the learner clicks on this box will take them to the About This Course slide. If you click inside the box, the learner would have to click on the hyperlink created for the text only. So it's up to you as a designer how you want that to be, but I always like them to be able to click in a wider area so that it's not frustrating for them to get their mouse at a certain point. So making sure that the entire box is highlighted and you are not clicked inside the box, choose Insert, Hyperlink, place in this document, and then find your slide that says About This Course. On the slide preview pane, you will make sure that this is the slide that you would like to hyperlink to. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And I'm going to do the same for navigation. Insert, hyperlink, place in this document, navigation. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. FAQ, insert, hyperlink, place in this document, FAQ, contact, insert, hyperlink, place in this document, and it appears I did not create a content slide, so I'm going to go back and do that right after the FAQ slide. Contact. Bold this. Go back to my Contact tab, insert, hyperlink, place in this document, contact. Do the same for the tabs here. The 50 states and their capitals, insert, hyperlink, and notice we have two slides because one is an introductory and one is the actual content. You do not have to create a link for every single slide for that section. So if I would have had 5 slides of content for the 50 states and their capitals, I only want to hyperlink to the first slide to get them to that section. So I'm going to select the first slide in this series. I'm going to do the same for the U.S. state capital list. Insert, hyperlink, place in this document. the same for the 50 states and their capitals. Song, insert hyperlink, and finally the quiz. So if I put this in slideshow view, we can see how the hyperlinks work. If I click on the 50 states and their capitals, for example, I will be taken to that particular slide. If I click on FAQ, I will be taken to that particular slide. What you might notice is after you're on that slide, you're kind of stuck on that slide and there's no way to navigate back to that graphical user interface. So I invite you to join me in my next tutorial where I will talk about using the Slide Master to create navigation. Thank you again for joining me for this tutorial on how to create a graphical user interface, and I hope to see you soon.